I should have told you that before. In Zoom, do we share entire screen in Zoom?
Yeah.
It will, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have already made the soup.
Okay, perfect. All right. And anybody online, if you are not seeing anything or anything like that, please let me know. Okay. Well, what we're going to do this today during the seminar, I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of the back end, what we're doing at SchoolAI, what's happening, why we're doing this, how we're doing it. I'm going to get you into play with the product a little bit. And then during the workshop, we're going to go really deep into the product and allow everybody attending the workshop to get in. You'll be able to create an account, a free account, and I will take you through everything and let you build and play with it, and we'll go deep into it. Sound good? Okay. And please, if you have questions, please feel free to raise your hand, cut me off. I want this to be a working session where we're working together back and forth. And oh, yep, should I approve that? But I wanted it to be a working session, so not just me talking the whole time. Is that okay? Yes, sir.
Great. You've already said something that made me think of a question. You said when you spoke to teachers, many have not used AI. Whereabouts do you speak to teachers?
Great question. So I actually, that's a fantastic question. Introduce myself a little bit. So I actually work with teachers all throughout the world. I've kind of right now, I cover a lot. So I cover many of the states in the US. We're, just so you know, SchoolAI is headquartered in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I work with teachers in Utah, Arizona, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Oklahoma. And then I cover Ontario, Canada. So I work with teachers all over Ontario, Canada. And then outside of North America, I cover the rest of the world as well right now. So I'm talking with teachers in Europe, in Asia, in South America, all over the place. And when I present to groups, most of the time, there's a large number of the teachers who aren't using anything. So it's still very new, and that's what we're going to talk about. All right. So, okay. SchoolAI, what is our mission? This is actually our mission statement. Kind of the new age of kind of fun, right? But our mission is to make school awesome every day for students and the people supporting them by finding out what they need and making that happen, right? There's a lot going on there, but really our goal is we want to make school awesome for everybody, in particular the students mostly, okay? But helping teachers. So most teachers right now are going to, well, let me go to the next slide here. What is going on right now in AI throughout the world, okay? And a lot of research going into this. We are very, very early, as you all know, we're very early into AI in education, right? I won't ever forget, it was November of 2022, right? So just over 2 years ago, I was driving home with my daughter. She's now 20 years old, but it was her senior year of high school. She was 18 at the time. And she's like, "Dad, have you heard about AI and what I can do now?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I know AI, but what do you mean?" And she showed me in 10 seconds, she opened up this new app called ChatGPT that I've never heard of. And she told it to write her a paper about whatever topic. I can't even remember what it was. And in seconds, she had a full, like 3-paragraph paper written out for her, right? And I was like, oh my goodness, something is about to change for the world, right? And what's happening, how did SchoolAI come to be, okay? And so our founder, our CEO right now, he is a former educator. He was a computer science teacher in middle school in Utah. And then he went out and started some schools to teach you how to write computer science, right? And was doing some other stuff, and they had an AI company. He was getting into AI and doing some other stuff in the AI world. And when ChatGPT was released in November of 2022, he changed. And he says, we've got to do something about this, or else this is going to change the world and possibly ruin education. So that's the biggest fear, right? We don't want our kids cheating. And I know that because I have a 17-year-old daughter and she cheats on everything with AI, right? She cheats on every subject all the time, and I can't stop it. I wish I could. But that's how SchoolAI came to be, is we want to take that away from kids as much as possible and have AI be a thought partner for them rather than a cheating tool, okay? So what's going on right now throughout the world is we are still very much in this spot right here where schools are trying to figure out, should we allow AI or not? Is this something that is going to help teachers and help students, or is it going to be something that's going to destroy education? Right? So most of the schools I talk to all throughout the world are still in this very much, should we allow this or not? Most schools I talk to have GPT and Gemini and Pilot shut off. They don't allow it at all. Right? And then here are the next stages we kind of see people going through. So those that are very ahead of the game, very progressive in their forward thinking, they're still trying to figure out, okay, yes, we're using it, but how do we use it? What is the most effective way? And most people using it right now are using it just for teacher productivity, right? And what I mean by teacher productivity is allowing my teachers to come in and build worksheets, maybe build a lesson plan, or maybe help me write an email to parents about something going on in the class, right? Stuff like that is where we see most of AI being utilized right now, okay? The big question, the big concern is student literacy. How do we get this in the hands of students and not have them using it to cheat on everything like my daughter, right? We don't want that to be happening. That will ruin education. We want it to be a thought partner for the kids to help them learn how to think critically, how to learn about different ways and have a differentiated learning experience for each student, okay? And then right there, the next steps are, student, how do we give every student their own sidekick? Sidekick is an internal term that we call, sidekick is like do you all understand the word sidekick? It's like somebody it's like your help, your best friend that's helping you on everything, right? So what we want to do is create an opportunity to have every student have a sidekick using AI, so have them help them be a tutor for them, right? And then really, what we're working towards, our end game is overall school improvement. And so we always say our tagline at our office is, we're just getting started. Our CEO ends every meeting every week with, we're just getting started in this, because what we want to do, be able to create is an AI tool that helps everything from the students, the teachers, the administration, the parents, everybody throughout the entire educational journey. So we're working on a lot of stuff. You are going to see first generation, what we're doing right now. And then at the end of this, I'm going to show you some of the things we're starting to build that are going to just start getting us into that overall view of school improvement and using AI, okay? Any questions so far? Okay, great. And online, if you can unmute yourself, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to. Okay, so this is the AI journey we are starting on, okay? So there are some reports. This is mostly North American numbers, and I apologize, I couldn't find numbers from worldwide, but there have been some reports done lately about issues going on in school, okay? In the US especially, teachers are overwhelmed. They have too much on their plate, way too much going on. I talk to teachers who have 45 desks in a classroom, right? They could have up to 45 kids in a classroom every single day. How in the world are they expected to personalize the learning experience for each one of those kids, right? It's impossible with all the other stuff they have going on, right? In the average teacher in the US, again, I apologize, this is a US number, but the average teacher in the US spends 50 hours a week at work, okay? And only 49% of that time, so maybe 23 hours of that, is actually time in front of the students. So the majority of their time is spent outside of the classroom with the kids, doing the stuff that just takes so much time, so much effort, right? Grading papers, writing lesson plans, doing so much work, and then they still have to go in and do what they actually love, but they don't have time to do it effectively. And they can't because they have too many kids in their classroom, right? So there's a huge issue here that only a third of teachers right now in North America are actually enjoying what they love to do, which is trying to be a teacher, right? You don't go into teaching for the money, right? You go into teaching because you love to have an impact on students' lives and help them, right? And there's a huge issue right now with only 33% of them actually enjoying their job anymore. We have a huge issue there where teachers are leaving the field, leaving the industry to go do other things because they get burned out. They're tired of it. They can't keep up on it, right? So that's major issue number one, okay? Issue number two, and again, North America, only 20% of students report that they have any one-on-one time with an adult in a school setting during a week. Right? So what that means is the vast majority, 80% of those kids, they're thrown into a classroom and they're lectured to for the entire day, 5 days a week, and they never sit down one-on-one to have a personal learning experience with any adult in the school setting, whether that's a teacher, a guidance counselor, somebody in administration, right? They are literally just another number because there's too much going on in education right now. Okay. And then right there, 90% of the parents surveyed talked about they want more than just a grade, right? They want their students involved more. They want their students being involved in other things and learning differently rather than just finding out how their students are doing from a grade. Did they get an A or a B or a C or a D in the class, right? They're expecting a lot more out of that educational experience. Okay, so a lot of issues, right, in the educational system. How do we fix that? How are we going to approach that? Okay. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So AI, can it help? Absolutely. Can it destroy the learning process? Absolutely, right? And so this is a very untechnical way of explaining what's going on with tools like ChatGPT and OpenAI and Copilot or any of these other systems that you might be using. So when data is requested out and goes into a tool like OpenAI, right? The request is sent out, that information is gathered and turned around and given back to the requester, whoever requested that information, right? Now, when information is requested, well, you all know this. I'm not teaching you something new here, but it goes into OpenAI, and that is used to refine their AI model, right? All that information. That's a huge concern for teachers using this in a school setting. You would be surprised how many teachers I talk to, they're like, oh yeah, I use ChatGPT. And I'm like, okay, did you say something about your student or like your school individually? And they're like, oh yeah. And like, please don't ever do that, right? Because that is putting personal information for students and things like that into the world of AI and having it refine their model, right? Very, very dangerous. So we always tell people, please don't ever use ChatGPT and talk about personally identifiable information in that way, right? So disadvantages of using, this is what I talk to teachers all the time about, disadvantages of using ChatGPT or other similar products, right? There's no content filtering and age-appropriate responses. So there's no way to make sure that what I am talking about is appropriate for my kids in grade 3, right? They could go in and ask it anything and it'll get a response and not filtered for that age appropriateness, right? Number 2, there are data privacy and compliance with student protection laws, right? We have laws all throughout the world. There's different laws to make sure we are protecting our kids and online safety. And things like OpenAI and all these other platforms, they don't have those in place. Those kids can go in and do anything. Sadly, there's been some kids who have done a lot of self-harm and things like that because AI literally told them to. And their brains are not developed enough to understand that they're not talking to somebody human, right? And they take that as something unfortunate, and there's no way to protect them. Number 3, customization for educational goals and safety protocols, right? We need to have stuff, again, for those safety protocols inside of schools, not just the kids themselves, but inside of the school setting as well. And then monitoring and reporting for educators. We need a way to make sure that we can monitor what those students are doing with AI and control that a little bit for them, right? We need to teach them how to use it appropriately and have some control into that. And then number 5 there, risk of misinformation and topic content. There's a lot of misinformation that can be given from AI, right? So how do we filter that? How do we make sure their requests are going out and then we get that information back and it's correct? It's in an appropriate, delivered in an appropriate way. Okay. Any questions there? Does that make sense? Okay. So what we do here at SchoolAI, this is again a very elementary looking explanation, right? Not very technical explanation here, but to try and simplify it, this is what we do. So when a request goes out from SchoolAI into different large language models, just so you're aware, we do use, primarily we use OpenAI as our large language model. We do use other systems as well, but they are our primary one. But we have a special agreement with them through an API. When a request comes from SchoolAI, the request goes out It is encrypted and privatized, and none of that information is used to refine OpenAI's models, okay? So it is all held privately, it's encrypted, it's safe. And then it is filtered, it comes back, information is gathered, right? And then it comes back through the SchoolAI filter, if you will. That's kind of a way of explaining it. It is filtered through there to make sure that the information is gathered and then presented in an appropriate way. So SchoolAI will know, am I delivering this for a second grade student? And how do I present it at their reading level, at their age level, to make sure they will understand what I'm talking about? Or am I presenting this to a teacher who's writing a lesson plan or something like that? That's what SchoolAI does, is it filters that information and then presents it appropriately in the way that is requested inside of SchoolAI, okay? And then all of that data is contained within SchoolAI. Nothing is going out, no private information is kept on anybody inside your instance of SchoolAI, okay? Any questions there? And I have on here, I couldn't delete this. I know this doesn't have to do with Hong Kong over here, but COPA and FERPA are federal compliance standards in the US. And there's a third party that is called SOC 2. We're complying with those and many other international ones as well. We take data privacy very, very seriously. And there's some tools that I'm going to show you, things that we're working on that we haven't even released yet because we don't have some of the data privacy stuff in place yet before we do. Okay. Any questions there on how SchoolAI works? Yes.
Thank you, Jim. My name is Sam, and so you just mentioned that like in the US, each teacher has to maybe like manage to teach 45 kids in one class. I think that's my childhood in mainland China. So my question is, have you had any sort of cooperations with any institution or schools in mainland China?
Great question. Not yet.
Is it on the list?
On the list for sure. Yeah. Yeah. We definitely want to get over there and everywhere. So yes, not yet, but coming. We're still a very small company, and I can explain that too. So we're still pretty small. We only have about 45 employees, and about half of those are engineers. And right now I'm covering the entire world, which is too much.
As a teacher, I can totally relate.
Yes.
I know
Yes.
that, you know, the workload for teachers, especially in mainland China.
Yeah. It's overwhelming. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great. Yes, we want to get there for sure. Coming. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, great. All right. So I want to open up to you. What challenges have you encountered when integrating AI into your teaching? And I know some of you may not be teachers yet or anything like that, but what challenges have you had trying to do anything with AI? And thinking about it, if possible, think about it from a teacher's perspective. What challenges might you have? Yes.
Things, you know, like the answers I get from AI, it's, you know, too general,
Mhm.
and so it's unclear. So that's why I've been studying like AI prompts.
Yes.
Trying to make, you know, get my personal answers.
I love it. Prompting is a huge issue, right? Again, the vast majority of teachers I talk to don't use AI at all. And so when I talk about prompting AI, that is like a complete foreign language to them. They don't know what I'm talking about. So I love that. We're going to talk about that and how SchoolAI can help you with prompting. Yes. Any other issues? Yes, sir.
Yes, so some problems when integrating AI into teaching is that the data set itself should be customized to fit what is being taught, but very often isn't the case. And because of this, very often misinformation gets mistakenly included into the data set. And then so when, for example, when you are teaching some mathematics and then the AI large language model returns a wrong result, and this is an undesirable effect. I have come across another like AI model which is specialized but for higher education. Its data set is the lecture notes and the other like reference materials.
Yeah.
And I do think SchoolAI maybe it also trains its database on like the designated materials for that course or
Yes.
that subject.
Yep. Yeah. How do we filter it and make sure it's presented correctly, right? Yeah. Yes.
So I really agree with what the guy said, because I think maybe school AI can solve the problem, like, for example, the AI had the, like, access to the data and also some of the materials and contents from the school, then you can plan with the AI together, because, AI still have limited resources, because I actually use, AI before for, like, I just write down some prompts like how I want to have their cooking theme lessons.
Yeah.
And then I just ask the AI to give me some kind of like ideas or some materials that I can refer to. But actually AI just gave me the general answers.
Yeah.
And then I felt really disappointed. This one, if I go to another channels like picture visual accounts where rats, we can have a more brainstorming ideas, or AI can just give general.
Yes.
So if I think in the future AI can have more data and also customized data and can help the alleviate the our burnout and also like can increase the efficiency of and innovations of the teaching plan.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. Yeah, that's AI is getting smarter every day, right? But it's not perfect, right? It's not perfect yet. It's actually kind of crazy. I read a report a couple months ago that talked about, I still don't even understand this, right? But it said that by 2030, AI is expected to be smarter than the entire human race combined. It's a pretty scary thought, right? But we're still in the very infancy of AI and what's going on, right? Again, it really came to play about just over 2 years ago, right? So it's still very, very early, but it's getting smarter every day. So yes, it's getting better, but we're not there yet. And to your point about math, right? AI in math is very difficult right now. And nobody's done it perfect, but it's getting better. So yeah. What other challenges? Anybody else? And that's okay if not. Yes, sir.
Hallucination.
Hallucination. What do you mean by hallucination?
Constantly fabricating factual information that looks real.
Yes.
So if your teacher wants to teach something that you are not familiar with, but then when you look at the information, they look really real.
Yes.
But if you do not do the checking, you probably will be, cheated. By
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Hallucination is a great one, right? Making sure fact checking is super important. That could really mess up a kid's learning experience. Yeah. Anybody else? These are all great answers. Yes, sir.
Automation.
Automation.
Sometimes I have a bunch of material in Word, PDF, PowerPoint. I want to automate and then put it, okay, and 1 hour presentation, and then some Q&A during the class, exercise after the class, and then maybe OCR the return of the homework, and then do the grading.
Yeah. Yeah. Automation is a big deal, right? I've used ChatGPT to help me write emails, and then I have to go in and fix it and edit it so much it's not even worth using it, right? And so that I'm like, why didn't I just write the email myself, right? So how do we really automate it and make it effective in the automation, right? It's getting smarter. It's getting smarter, right? Great. These are all fantastic points, and all points that we were concerned about with why we need to have SchoolAI help us be that filtering system to make everything appropriate for a school setting, right? So what do we do? SchoolAI. So there are 3 sections, and we're going to go over all of this today. But there are 3 sections inside of SchoolAI. So tools and assistance, these are teacher and educational productivity pieces that we will go over, right? Tools helps us document or create documents. It's a document generator for us, right? So when I, as a teacher, need to go in and I need to create a lesson plan, or I need to create a quiz that I want to present to my kids, or anything, I would go into tools. And again, we're going to go into all of these in depth. And then in the workshop, we're going to go in and you're going to start building all of this stuff, okay? And then assistance, think of assistance as my own personal chatbot, my own personal ChatGPT in a school setting, where I can go ask it anything that I need help with, right? I always tell it, it's like my little assistant in the classroom, like, hey, figure this out. How do I do this, right? And I'm just going to go to assistants and ask for help to do anything. And then spaces is my favorite part. It's really what sets us apart. Is spaces is where we now allow kids to come in and interact with AI. But in that safe way. The teacher controls it. The teacher invites them into it. I'm going to show you how to do all of that, and done in a very unique way. Are you all okay if we take a break and you get to play with some SchoolAI right now? Is that okay? Okay. If you all go to on your laptops there, if you go to schoolai.com, we're gonna take a few minutes and I'm gonna give you a join code. I'm gonna have you get in, just go to schoolai.com and then I will show you what to do here. We're going to go into a space I created in the hotel room last night in just a couple minutes, talking about the history of Hong Kong, okay? Sound good? Okay, so let me go here. So if you go to, right, oh, whoops. If you go to schoolai.com, down here, you see on the very bottom there is enter code. Just hold on there for a minute and I'm going to show you how to do it. Or if you have your phone, you'll be able to do a QR code, okay? So I'm going to open up SchoolAI right now. This is the app itself. And then here is a space that I just created. And let me go to, oh, whoops, not there, sorry, wrong place. So here are a bunch of ones I've created. But here is, we're going to go into history of Hong Kong. And so you all are going to be going into this right now as if you are a student. Okay, and we're going to spend about 10 minutes or so, 5 to 10 minutes maybe, and let you play around. So if you want, you can do it one of two ways. You can join just that QR code if you want to do it on your phone, or if you want to join on your laptop. At the bottom of that page of schoolai.com, it says enter code. If you enter the VFCF, and then just put your first name or some way for me to identify you, and then you can be in there chatting as if you are a student. And hopefully online, you can all see this as well. Okay, so we'll spend the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. Just I'll kind of observe the room and see if everybody's done or sick of it. But let you start chatting with it. And if you want, up at the let me show you. I'm going to copy this. It's okay. I'll show how to do this too. If you want to, you can. I'm going to enter it so I can show you as if I'm a student as well. You have the option here to. Sorry, it's hard to do this one-handed. Give me a second here. Internet's being a little slow. Is that okay? Are you all getting in? Is it for you? Okay. I don't know why mine's being so slow. Let me refresh it. There we go. Up here on the right, this little cog, the little wheel there. If you want, you can go in and change your language settings as well. So you can do that too if you would prefer to do that versus English. And then we will, yeah. So next, let's take the next 5 or so minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, and let you play around with that for a bit. And raise your hand, grab me if there's any questions while you're doing it. Oh, the code, show the code again? Yes, absolutely. It was, I have it right here. If the code was VFCF right there. If you're doing it. Or do you prefer, are you on the laptop? Okay, yeah, on the laptop there. Go another 3 minutes or so. Unless you all are done and want to be like, okay, let's keep moving. Yes. So not the LLM is not developed by us, the filtering system is developed by us. And some we do use some large language models, so primarily though it's pulling from OpenAI, primarily, but and some others, and including some of our stuff. But what the SchoolAI system does, it filters all of that. What's that?
But I think the response quite sounds like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because they do open source, that's my point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to, it's a big undertaking to create a full LLM,
Yeah.
right? So.
For a small
yeah.
company, it doesn't make sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Totally doesn't make sense.
Okay, is that okay to take a break there? So what I'm gonna do right now is I, as the teacher, have full control. So if I just pause it, now you all cannot continue to chat with that, right? So we're gonna go over this in deep. I'll open it back up. So if you want to continue to play with it later, we can, but I'm just showing you that. But we'll go into what this all means in a little bit here. But this is, I, as the teacher, have full control of everything. I don't know how I drew on that. That's weird. That's weird. I drew on it somehow. But I'm a teacher, I have full control, so I give kids access, I can see what they're doing. We're gonna dive into this very, very deep. But how was that experience? Anybody, give me some honest feedback here, good, bad, ugly, whatever. Yes, sir.
If you want to foster discussion in a classroom, it's negative, it's very insular, and it stops group discussion, which is often a problem with students in Confucian heritage societies.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I noticed about a class. We went all quiet.
Sure.
We just type.
Sure. Yeah. Do we want to use AI for everything? Absolutely not. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
So I don't see any like relevant questions besides, because I use Google Learn About a lot. I think that function works better than this one, to be honest.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because there are a lot of like relevant questions up there, so you know, like, okay, for example, I learned AI, the basics, and it illustrates like, oh, there is some machine learning, deep learning, NLP, and sort of stuff. Oh, before I know everything, I know that there are some terms over there that I need to go through. So I think it would be way better if there are some relevant questions.
Sure.
Given.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You want to make sure it's customized for the right audience, right? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else? Okay, I like it. So a couple things to your points there. Very relevant points, right? Number one, do we want to take away the collaboration and everything with kids? And do we want them using AI all the time? Absolutely not. What we do want to do is present differentiated learning opportunities for them, right? In the right setting, right? You have a kid in here that wants to go in to talk about, you know, I see this stuff used for everything, every subject, everything you can think of, right? But how, when I've got 40 kids in my classroom, how do I differentiate that learning experience for each of them, right? So this is introduced as a thought partner for them, that you can go as deep as you want into any of these and learn about it continuously. Or you got a kid who is very basic level, doesn't understand the topic for the day. and it teaches them and keeps them on track at their level, right? And so that's where we want to have AI introduced into the classroom to help with that differentiated learning experience, not be the teacher. We're not trying to replace the teacher in any way, right? So have those different experiences for them. And then I, as a teacher, want to make sure that I'm presenting it and doing activities that are relevant to what I'm doing, right? I need to get better at my prompting to make sure it is on topic with what I'm trying to teach, right? If I'm teaching about physics and Newton's first law of physics or something like that, I want to make sure I have the right prompting in there to take them into the deep learning that they could have and a possibility to get into, right? So that's what we're going to talk about and start playing with later today during the workshop as well. Yes, sir.
Sure. I want to ask, like, before you make this board, do you need to, like, say, also train it, like, say, somewhere we have the knowledge base, like POE?
No, so I will show you. So literally, all I did last night to write this prompt, I literally did this in just a couple minutes, is I will show you the prompt I wrote. Not for any particular audience or anything like that, but all I did is I gave it some context. This space allows students to explore various aspects of Hong Kong's history with a focus on engaging them through interactive narratives and primary sources, right? I just gave it some stuff. I gave it a role. We'll talk about all this, what this all means, right? But this is the prompt. So at the beginning, you were asked with a selected topic you might be interested in. I just told it, I just found some stuff really quick and said, hey, these are maybe 5 topics, chat with them and see if they're interested in exploring further, right? And so in my prompt there, and then I just wrote some quick prompts there. It just took me a couple minutes to put this all together. And then that's the activity. I will show you during the workshop, we'll go deep into what people are doing inside of actual classrooms and some of their spaces that they're doing. We have over 150,000 spaces that are publicly available for anybody to use worldwide that other teachers are using in their classrooms right now. So I'll show you all of that. So, okay. Any other questions or comments? Yes, sir.
So I had a little test here because it says history of Hong Kong.
Uh-huh.
Then I typed in what is NLP, and it still answered my questions. So I think you close your eye, you imagine kids, they mess up with their keyboards. They type in like any questions, and so I think that would be kind of distracting.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I use it wrong or I don't.
Wait, so what happened when you typed in NLP?
NLP, it answered me, I guess.
It did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but kids should focus on
On what they're doing. Yeah.
Specific topics
Yep.
because you have a control, but you cannot control their keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll show you in the workshop. I'll get into deep how we control everything, and then what it will do to redirect them back on topic.
Yeah, I just want to give you my honest.
Yes,
feedback.
absolutely. I love the feedback. So, but yes, please.
Strange that, for example, I want to learn the history of education in Hong Kong, but it only lists me some elements influence the history, but I want to see all of them. I want to get more inspirations, but it only lists me 1 or 2, no more than 3.
Sure. And that's part of the prompting that I did, right? I didn't get into those specific things. And so it's limiting to what I prompted it to.
Is that because the teachers like, for example, the teacher prompting control the whole answer?
Yes. And so the prompting controls the way the information is filtered and presented to make sure it stays on topic with what was prompted. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that means the teacher has to be smart, like very outsmart their students in some specific topics. But what if we can't? For example, I'm just a language teacher.
Yeah.
I can't just control those content subjects.
Sure.
But I can't do the double major workload. So how can I say that I can outsmart those students and do the right prompt?
So that's where you wanted to be. We're doing the very specific things, right? So we're working on very specific things, not overall education for everything right now. It is very specific, like, hey, we're working on this topic in my classroom today. And so I want my kids to get into an AI experience and have that differentiated learning experience about this particular topic, right? So if we're talking about the way the nervous system works or something like that, the way the nerves work in the body, I'm going to be talking about specific parts of that and giving that AI experience for them. It's not going to be teaching them everything about everything, right? It's going to be very specific. I'm going to write prompts specific to what I'm trying to learn today. And so And I'll show you how to build prompts and how to do other stuff too, that could help you, get more generalized or get more specific, whatever you want to do. You can tell it what you want to do. Yes, go to the workshop. Yes, go to the workshop. And then in there, you'll be able to build stuff and play with stuff as well. So, yeah, any other comments or questions? Okay, great. All right, so back into right here. Whoops, there we go. Okay, so tools again. We only have about 10 or 15 minutes left, and we'll open up for questions and stuff too, and then we'll get to the workshop in a little while. But so again, tools are built to be document generators for us, right? So this is where I go in. I'm building my lesson plans. I'm building my quizzes, all of those kind of things. I'm utilizing AI to help me do all of this, right? This is where we talk about, when I talked about the average teacher is spending 50 hours a week working, and the majority of that time is spent doing this kind of stuff. So we utilize this to help us save hours and in building those documents that I have to build every day in my classroom anyway. And then assistants, talked about this briefly, but this is where we now go to ask for help with anything general. So when I talk about how to design one of those spaces, right, we literally have an assistant engineer. It's not on the picture there, but called Space Designer. That's where I can go in and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to build. These are the outcomes I'm trying to get from this. Help me design a space appropriate for my classroom to be used that way. And it goes all the way down to field trip coordinators and all sorts of stuff. We'll go deep into that and how to build it and how to play with that too. So, but here's the issue, right? We're trying to figure out a way to differentiate and personalize the student learning experience utilizing AI, right? That's the point. It was what I was talking to earlier, right? A lot of times in China, from mainland China, you have 45 kids in the class, right? How it's impossible for me as a teacher to personalize that experience for every one of those, right? It's impossible. Nobody can do it. But that's the battle we're all trying to figure out in education is how do we give each kid a personalized experience, and how do we utilize AI to help us in that? AI is not going to replace a teacher. It can never replace a teacher. There's still so much that we as teachers have to do in the classroom every day and have that one-on-one touch with the kids. But how do we give them an experience that's fitting for them every day too, right? And then that's where I jumped into spaces already and talked about that. So it says on there 100,000 plus, but now it's over 150,000 plus pre-made spaces that you can utilize. And in between now and the workshop, if you want, you can go in and create a free account when going to SchoolAI.com and start playing with it, and then we can go through in details there. And then mission control, that's the teacher part. I'll go through this really fast here. And then prompting, this is what we're going to talk about as well, right? How do we prompt? Oops, there we go. The 4 steps, right? I need to define the role. What am I trying to get out of this activity with my kids, right? I need to tell SchoolAI what its role is in this prompting, okay? I need to outline the task. I need to tell it what my outcomes are going to be. What am I trying to do with this? Provide instructions, give it further instructions on how I want it to operate during the space. And then set any requirements. So this is the better I get at this, the better that experience is going to be, right? And then define the role, we'll go over that. So like define the role, what do I mean by that? You are a historical figure from the Renaissance period, right? I tell it exactly what I want to be. Historical figure, just so you know, there's historical figure chatbots in spaces, probably the most utilized spaces all throughout the world. People could be chatting with you. I mean, we could create one here. I'm just thinking of somebody in Hong Kong, Bruce Lee, right? I could create a chatbot where you are chatting with Bruce Lee and learning about his life, right? We see in the US all the time chatting with Abraham Lincoln or George Washington. It's really, really fun. So I define and tell it who it is and what I'm doing, right? Outline the task. You will guide students through a virtual solar system exploration. I've seen some really cool examples of this talking about the solar system in like grades 3 and 4 in the US, right? Talking about the solar system and letting those kids go into differentiated learning experiences and getting deep into the solar system again, or surface level, very, very basic information on stuff, right? Allow them to have that differentiated learning experience, but I give it the outline of what I want that to be. And then provide instructions, right? Example there, begin by asking students what they know about the solar system, then provide a brief overview of each planet or whatever, right? And then set the requirements. This is where it gets really important. If a student does this, then I want you to do that, right? This is where I can give it instructions of like, don't give the students answers, or, if we're working on something and I want them to try multiple times, if they get it wrong after 3, give them answers. I can tell it what I want it to do, and it will do that. Okay? And then prompt ideas there. We'll go into all of this in the workshop as well, but what I do there, language options, all that kind of stuff. I can literally tell it to communicate in Chinese and English, or whatever I want it to do, or really any language as well. And then here's some examples that we've seen with some schools using us, where on how they're doing different things, right? So this is a lady, Sue Cluck. With the tutor space, I'm able to pinpoint exactly what my students know, identify learning gaps, and provide personalized instruction tailored to each student's needs. Approximately 94% of my students showed remarkable growth with content mastery, right? That happens because I create that personalized experience for them, and then they all grow at their own pace, their own way, right? When I'm teaching to a classroom this size, all of you are different areas of learning, right? And retain information differently. How do I create that personalized space for them? It's by utilizing AI sometimes to help me, right? Multi-language learners, supports, there's actually 154 languages that we can support in there. And again, in the workshop, we'll go over how to do speech to text and text to speech. Not all of those 154 are capable of that yet, coming very soon, but not yet. But right there, language translation is a big deal, especially really, really big deal in the US, with students moving in from other countries as well. Book recommender, this is a good one for a librarian, right? She created this space, so when kids come to the library and they don't know what book they want to read, they go through a space that tries to find interests that they might be interested in, and then recommend books for them that they have in their library that they could then go read, right? So just could a librarian help 40 kids as they come in and help each of them find a book? No, but we're going to utilize the tool to help them be more effective in doing that, right? And then a couple other here. This one is, this was a really cool one when I talked to this guy in California. SchoolAI revolutionized our students' intake process when you have a new student coming in, turning data points into stories. It helps staff connect personally with new students from day one, making our onboarding more engaging and human-centered. SchoolAI brings new student to life in ways raw data never could, right? So rather than just looking at a transcript of a student moving in and getting an idea of like, oh yeah, they're really good at math, right? No, it's going to dive deeper in ways that I couldn't do, and give me a better picture of what's going on. And then again, I'll show you in the workshop how to get some data and stuff like that into there too. And then I think this might be my last one here. Brainstorm and refine ideas tirelessly. I love this one. I love the assistants. They are like a knowledgeable colleague that will keep spewing ideas until I find one that I like. There is no way any of my colleagues would have the stamina for my half-baked ideas and constant what-if questions, but the assistants do, right? AI is endlessly patient. So I can use it, and same with students, right? When they're in there, they can ask a million questions and it won't ever get tired of it. They try to get off topic, it will pull them back on topic endlessly and find ways to relate to them. And then we'll talk about community as well. This community, you can join our community right now and literally start chatting with educators worldwide and talk to them about how they're using SchoolAI in their classrooms and get ideas, gather ideas. Our educational community is really, really big. And then we offer professional development. I'll show you that in there too. How you can go through certifications. We have 2 certifications that you can do right now. With one that goes into AI in general. What is AI? How do I prompt AI effectively? How do I do this stuff? And then how do I specifically utilize SchoolAI, and goes deep into how do I use assistants? How do I use tools? How do I do spaces with kids? And goes deep into those certifications too. Okay, we have about 2 minutes left. Any questions from everything here during the seminar? And then the workshop is at 4:30, correct? We got about an hour, right? No, 5. Is it 4:30? Okay, I can't even remember the time. 5. Okay, yes, 5. Sorry. So at 5 o'clock, we'll be back for the workshop. But any questions before we end? Yes, sir.
So the other day I was scrolling through and I found one school in the US. I'm pretty sure you know it. It's called Alpha School.
Alpha School, I don't know Alpha School.
Alpha School, I think there are 6 schools in the US right now.
Okay,
They have like a 2-hour learning mode with only AI coaches instead of teachers. So, what do you think of it? Like,
yeah, education is changing.
I think like teachers maybe in the future they become coaches instead of like simply teaching.
It's going to be interesting to see what really happens, what really transpires here. I am afraid of teachers going away. I don't think AI can ever truly replace them. AI should, in my personal opinion, AI should be utilized as something to help teachers, not take away teachers, right? I think about like my learning experience, right? I am no math guy. I hate math, but you know who my favorite teacher is? Was my math teacher my freshman year, my 9th grade year of high school. Mrs. Burzek. She's still my favorite teacher I ever had. And I hate math. I don't know math at all. Right.
Yeah.
But it's her personal touch that she had with me and getting me to be successful in her class. I don't think AI could ever replicate what she did. Right. So that's my personal opinion on it. But I mean, I'm old, right? If we had AI back then, could that have helped me further? Absolutely. Right, because she had students in her class who loved it, and she had to like help them get further in it. She just had to help me get past it, right? So
I think my point is, in the world of AI, I think teachers, they have to be aware of what they're doing, and they have to start picking up more skills. Other than teaching.
Yeah.
I think that would be like teachers are lifelong learners.
Yes.
We should learn, and then we know how to inspire.
Yeah. And the students side as well, right? The students need to learn how to learn that way. I think about like online learning, right? I mentioned my daughter, she's a junior, she's in 11th grade, right? And she takes a couple classes online. Do I think she's really getting good information from that? No, because she's cheating her way through it. I know that. She needs to learn how to learn better, right? To make those online classes more effective for her. Right now, she's just trying to get through them, right? And so, same thing with AI, right? If AI is going to replace teachers, I think there's so much opportunity for the students to really learn how to utilize it in an effective way, so they're actually learning. And then I think you had a question or comment as well.
Does like the AI, SchoolAI provide is a platform that will incorporate all the roles like teachers, assistants, even the students inside? Because I know like I'm in pre-service, I'm going to be, and I have some classes that really teach me how to do like multiple I call DMC.
DMC, I don't know DMC.
It's the multimodal composing.
Oh, okay, yep.
And I learned a lot of AI tools for the games and for something like, for example, Kahoot.
Kahoot is great.
Yeah, it is platform going to incorporate all the information.
Great question. Can I show you something right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I introduced there, and we'll be going deep into in the workshop, is version 1 right now for SchoolAI. So we have something coming out very soon that I'll introduce right now. It's just a short 1.5-minute long video that is going to change everything I'm talking about and make everything simpler. Okay, so I will show you. That is a great transition. Thank you. Great transition into what we are. Where is it at here? Where did I put it? Oh, here it is right here. I'm like, where did I go? Okay, this is what we're working on right now. I don't know if the sound will come through. It's just music. So if not, no worries. But this is what we have coming out very soon. timeline. We're just getting started, right? So that's what we're working on right now to help throughout the entire learning process for everybody. And make it all simpler, right? You saw those, what we're calling power-ups, you know, the document generator, the image generators, the math simulators, physics simulators, all sorts of stuff there. So, yeah, great point. Yeah. Great. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I have a question. Just based on this platform, I see that it can help some courses like the knowledge-based, like the literacy, mostly is about the learning and writing in the text mode, right? So what about some practical courses, just like the oral training courses or something?
Like auto training, did you say? Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes they will practice, interact with the AI just like this. Is that useful there?
Yeah, so it's more used for the back end knowledge of those kind of things. I talked to a teacher in Oklahoma recently who is it's called CTE, Career and Technology Education, right? And one of the parts she taught in her course is diesel mechanic. So diesel trucks, right? How to like be a mechanic for that. And so she utilizes SchoolAI to help her students learn about different aspects of diesel mechanics, right? And so they go in there and they start chatting with it and learning about different aspects. When they have questions, they go in there, right? Right now, the way it is right now, it's all text-based. So they can't see the images, they can't do any of that yet. All of that is coming with Dot. So they can like go in and break down the mechanics of an engine and see all that, right? Or you get into like a health field and you can see, you know, body scan images and break it down and learn about it. All of that's coming to get deeper into that learning experience. I also see in like practical applications, like I talked to a teacher who was using it for AutoCAD. They were learning, you know, the system AutoCAD, right, for architecture and stuff like that. And what she did is she uploaded the AutoCAD work manual into there. So now when our students are having issues in their AutoCAD system, they can jump into that space about that and start chatting with it and asking questions. Okay, how do I do this? And it will just give them answers and help them figure out how to like works inside of AutoCAD. So there's a help. It's like to help them, right? Not give them answers and do it for them, but it's helping them figure out how to search it and do it better, quicker. So those are just a couple of examples of seeing stuff I've seen in that practical application outside of just like an English language arts or writing or reading or something like that. So I've even seen a lacrosse coach utilize it to help him plan out lacrosse practices better. Right? I've seen a lot of stuff. So yeah. Also, probably the weirdest way I've seen it used is a school district in New York State. They were going through an interview process for the new superintendent. Superintendent's like the big boss of the school district, right? And in the US, and they utilized it. And they created a space for all of their applicants for the new superintendent job. And so all of them had to go through and they used that during their interview process, the way they responded to questions and stuff like that. So with some of the insights they got from it. So I've seen everything. So yes, sir.
You have like a module for the students because like for Hong Kong, the parents are very busy and sometimes it really depends on teachers' quality. Sometimes many parents in Hong Kong, they have to send their child to some private tutors in order to get some more in-depth drill. So do OpenAI, the SchoolAI right now have a module for the students to like a little teacher or a little tutor so they can learn it by themselves?
Can students come in and do it on their own right now? No, not yet. We don't have student accounts yet. And the reason is safety concerns. We have it built. It's about 90% the way there to finished product, but there are so many safety concerns that we're not releasing it yet. And what I mean by that is what I talked to kind of a little bit earlier, right? How do we make sure when a student's at home and they're chatting with AI, they're not going off doing something inappropriate, or they're not talking about self-harm or something like that, right? A mature audience here, so I'll talk about this. Major concern, there was 2 kids in the US last year that were chatting with ChatGPT and talking about issues and stuff like that. And ChatGPT literally got to the point that told them to kill themselves, and they did. So it's a major concern in schools right now, especially in the US with that happening. that we don't want to open that up yet until we know how to help manage that, right? So that's why. But I can, as a teacher, I can create these spaces for kids and have it be that tutor that they can go and access, right? I mentioned my daughter, Lucy, she's 17, right? She cheats on everything, but now when she has to prepare for her test, guess what she does? I've opened up some spaces for her that she can go into and start chatting with and telling her what she's learning in her history class and what she needs to get ready for a test. And now it's a tutor for her to help her. It's not going to give her the answers, but it's going to help her study better, more effectively, right? So I can open that up for my students, but I can still see everything they're doing. I can still have full control of that. And then with this new dot that I showed here, it's going to help with that student experience as well. Let them get deeper into that learning experience, utilizing AI rather than just a text-based, allow them to do so many other things. But I, as a teacher, still have control and see everything happening. So, yeah, so could I open it up for them? Sure. But they can't do that on their own yet. So, yeah, it was really, really sad when those reports came out and we were like, okay, we really need to make sure we hold off on introducing student accounts. So, great questions and comments. Anything else? I'm happy to stay. I'm here the whole time anyway, so I'd be happy to stay as long as possible. Okay, great. With that, and then yeah, if you can join back at 5, great. If not, my card is up here. You're all welcome to come grab my card, message me anytime, and happy to help any way I can. Great. Thank you. Thank you.